Hey, so first of all, for all my returning viewers, I just want to say that I am finally back and I am alive. Don't worry. You may be wondering why I've been gone for so long. So, if you're a new viewer, you can also listen. I'm going to be going over some stuff I want to discuss. And hopefully, you all understand where I'm coming from. Some of you guys might not get it, but basically, if you looked at my upload for the past week, I haven't really posted a video for the last 10 days. I've also stayed quiet on my Discord server, and there's a very good reason for that. And the reason might not be the one you might be curious about or the one you think. So you probably think maybe I was on a spiritual journey far away in the mountains. I became a monk, right? A Buddhist monk, meditating, and I pretty much disappeared. Or you might think I basically quit YouTube. Or you might think that I'm like super depressed and I'm pretty much on the urge of like not existing anymore, literally. But it's actually pretty straightforward and it's kind of crazy. So let's just take a step back, all right? Have you noticed that in our modern society right now, it's so hard to just vanish and just like escape from humans? And what I mean by that is that let's say you have family or people that recognize you, right? Or expect you to meet them or see them on a daily basis, right? Or even on a weekly basis. If you disappear without letting them know, they're gonna have some sense of anxiety. They're gonna be wondering, where the heck did you go? And it's kind of crazy how a lot of you aren't even my friends or family, right? You're just viewers. And if I'm gone for like a week or two without letting anyone know or staying absolutely silent, some of you are probably gonna go feeling a bit anxious about me, right? Worried about me. And I'm honestly grateful that some of you do care about my physical well-being and my mental well-being. But I'm here to just reassure you that I'm here, alive, and well. I am alive indeed. Or am I? Really? Or are we all just living a simulation? And honestly, it doesn't really get much deeper than that. I mean, I guess I can discuss why I've been gone for a week, like 10 days. I mean, that's a lot for some of you, I'm sure. Like some of you expect me to upload like every day or every 2 or 3 days, but for me, I'm gonna be honest, just want a bit of a break. I was burnt out from making videos every 2 to 3 days, sometimes every day. I mean, we all get burnt out, right? Doesn't matter how much we enjoy doing something. I just got burnt out. Just felt like I needed a break from YouTube, from social media as well. You might have realized on my Discord server, I normally used to interact a lot with you guys, my returning viewers and my fans, but recently just feel like I need to just take a break, take a step back, take a breather from the Discord server because things were getting a bit hectic in there and I just wanted some time for myself, right? Sure, some of you get it too. Sometimes you just want to be by yourself, so let anyone know. And this is just one of these moments where I just wanted to stay quiet and just want to do what I wanted to do without constantly trying to let people know, right? Like, it's not really, at the end of the day, it's my life, right? I know this might be very selfish for some of you, but hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. But with that out of the way, let's just talk into today's topic, right, and concept, because I know it's been a while since I've talked about life in general, and I know some of you also do miss me talking about it. But before I ramble any further, let's just preface this by saying that today I'm going to be talking about something a bit more abstract. It's pretty much our human existence. Like, are we really alive? And these are some feelings I've also been feeling on my days off from uploads. And one last thing I actually forgot to mention was just I also just spent a lot of quality time with my family. It was Canada Day on July 1st. That's why I also like didn't really upload. I was sort of going back to making videos on July 1st, but that's Canada Day. I live in Canada, so I wanted to spend some time. And it's kind of crazy how in our stone age, like I said, so hard to vanish, and we're so interconnected with the internet and social media. It's impossible, right? Like back in the day, you could literally be out in the woods for many days. Nobody would know, right? No one would care. But nowadays, it's like even absolute strangers start wondering where the heck I am. But anyways, I know I'm rambling. I'm just repeating myself. So back to reality, right? Back to, I guess, supposedly human existence, or are we even living in the true nature of reality, right? We could be living in a simulation, but it's interesting how us humans, right? We just want to be happy at the end of the day. We just want to seek comfort. We don't really want to be stressed out. Nobody wants to be depressed. No one wants to feel noxious. And it's unfortunate how, like, us humans, we tend to distract ourselves, right? We don't necessarily end up thinking constantly about death, even though it's very evident and it's not preventable, right? Death is something we humans all have to go through. It's really the only objective truth of our existence, is that we're all going to wither and die one day, and what happens afterwards is up to our senses as humans to depict, right? And feel like a lot of us overestimate our human ability to think rationally, right? Us humans feel like our brains have its given parameters and our thresholds, right? Like some of us can't magically think about things. Like there's some things we can think about that's out of our capabilities of human beings, just because of the way our brain is structured. It's unfortunate how in our society a lot of people don't acknowledge death, right? We tend to distract and stay away from it, and we never really are given time to think about it intimately or acknowledge it, unless maybe we faced a near-death experience. And yeah, it's unfortunate how life ourselves is all about distractions, right? All about consuming content online. Doesn't even, and consuming products too, right? We're obsessed with just keeping ourselves busy, keeping ourselves productive, optimizing our workflow, optimizing and min-maxing our life, which is a really stupid thing, I find. And that's why I really want to just take a step back from YouTube videos, because I feel like a lot of times I just want to just reset my brain, and a lot of times, I don't know, a lot of people in the comments just end up telling me to min-max my life, tell me to get my crap together, but at the end of the day, it's my life, right? I choose how I live my life, even if it's not supposedly the most optimized way of living it, right? Understand, there's a lot of flaws I have, but, you know, we're all gonna die one day, right? Like, as long as I'm happy, right? As long as I'm doing okay on my own terms, right? It's interesting. Let me know what you think about in a comment on how someone should live their ideal life. And another interesting thing I thought about was, like, am I really living, or am I just existing on Earth? I feel like a lot of people, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people just go on autopilot mode, especially people who just work, like maybe blue collar jobs. They just work, go home, consume, repeat, rinse and repeat, pay the bills, right? And it's almost like people just live on autopilot mode. And at that point, are you really just existing? Like, you're not really living life, you're just existing, right? As a human being, and just conforming to society and contributing to society as well. Seeing the GDP go up, right? In this capitalist society. Like, it's really unfortunate, and think about this just makes me feel like why I even took a break in the first place, due to the achievement society we live in, this meritocracy, where constantly our achievements matter more than our well-being, right? Like, if you get a gold medal Olympics, people are going to praise you, see you as a superhero. People want to make 6 figures a year. People want to do anything for money, even if it means controlling others and manipulating others and just taking advantage of others, right? Like we've seen so many people, I'm not gonna call out specific names, but you know those typical, yeah, actually I'm not gonna talk about it just because I don't really wanna just throw out names there because it doesn't really change anything, right? I mean like what's gonna happen, right? They're gonna get pissed. Like, but you know who those folks are, right? People who promote toxic positivity, people who just do things just to get people hooked into it. There's so many people, right? Like that. It's unfortunate how I feel like in our society we just end up breeding narcissists. People who just put themselves first, willing to step over others just to get a raise, right? At work, you have to play along with office politics. You have to deal with coworkers who just try to cover their ass, right? They try to cover their own mistakes by blaming it on someone else, blaming on someone with a lower position. You probably faced it. I faced it myself in my dang factory and other places I worked at, but it's really unfortunate. And going back to some abstract things I want to talk about, I just feel like a lot of times I just feel like there's always something lacking in me. Maybe that's why I'm feeling a sense of anxiety, a sense of nausea, a sense of despair. Maybe you felt it too sometimes. And a lot of times I just feel not very confident in my own ability. And I feel like confidence is definitely something that you have to like slowly accept, right, for yourself. It's not something you can just immediately get, right? And I don't know, I just feel like sometimes I just feel like I lack the essence of what it means to be a human being. I feel like a lot of times I just don't really feel content with myself, right? I know some of you say it's an easy fix, just go to the gym, get back to school, and just like, make bank, get a girlfriend. But it's not as straightforward as that, right? I feel like it's not that route is not for everyone, especially getting a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or going to school, right? There's so many ways of living life, but I feel like I want to just live my life my way, right? And I know it's gonna be life is never easy, right? You have to work hard to get somewhere, and the issue is that sometimes when you work hard, it doesn't you don't always reap the benefits of it. There's a lot of luck that goes into life as well. And for me personally, my luck has been pretty bad. Like I've never really won anything massive, and I don't really encourage anyone to gamble, but sometimes I just wish I was a more of a lucky person, right? I know plenty of people who are actually very lucky, and and going back to life, I just feel like a lot of times I just end up feeling very disappointed when I aim for something and I work so hard for it, right? Like back when I tried to make the perfect portfolio when I was a graphic designer, right? And even all that, I still didn't end up getting a job I was satisfied with. And I feel like with high expectations leads to high disappointments. So sometimes I just feel like if you don't do anything, you're not going to be disappointed. It's a bit of a double-edged sword. When you take risks, you have the chance of doing something great, something you're going to feel accomplished, feeling happy about. But if you fail to do that, you just feel like all your efforts have been wasted. And I know some of you might say, hey, that's the only way for you to grow, right? By making mistakes. But sometimes you have to understand that sometimes time is very precious, right? Imagine investing so much time into it and it doesn't work out at the end, right? It must be devastating. And that's why I sort of like appreciate music in a way. Like music is very therapeutic. Like I feel like music is sort of escape from reality, similar to video games I used to play, like MMORPGs, like Adventure Quest Worlds, RuneScape. I feel like a lot of times I just listen to music at work or just when I go out for a walk. It just sort of makes me go back in time for a bit. Music kind of transcends time and makes me just think of what life could have been, right? It just a nice getaway and sort of a gateway to pretty much a better future for us. And it's definitely a culted fantasy that us humans end up living in, and I can see that why so many people are into music, right? It takes us away from the present and immerses us into whatever time period music was based in, right? And yeah, for the past week, honestly, I've also been thinking about AI. I know there's a lot of mixed opinion on it. Some of you think AI is going to benefit society and humans because a lot of us won't really have to work anymore, right? But for me, I see that as a double-edged sword. A lot of us are also going to lose jobs, but I don't want to discuss too much about it because I feel like a lot of it I'm not too educated on, so I don't think I really can discuss about it that in depth. But yeah, honestly, I just feel like humans just have the inherent desire to feel loved, right? Feel belonged. And I still feel like that feeling's never gonna go away. Even if I take like a month break. I saw it about it too. Like I saw it about how I would feel different if I just took a 1 week break. But honestly, I feel like my stances on life didn't really change. I still feel the same way as I did 10 days ago. And I'm still the same human being as I was. But sometimes I don't know. I just feel like I'm not really alive. I feel like I'm just trying to pick the best course of action every second of my life. And just that's ultimately going to determine my future. It feels like a bit tiring. And that's why I wanted to also take a break for a week, just because of my mental was not stable. I was not getting enough sleep, and thankfully, when I took the break, when I didn't upload, I was actually getting at least 7 hours of sleep, right? I was even getting 8 or 9 hours sleep some days, and trust me, it really makes a massive difference. If any of you are only getting like 6.5, 7 hours sleep, encourage you all to get at least 7.5, even 8 hours of sleep. It does make you feel a lot more, just makes you feel better, right? It's almost like injecting vitamin D into your body, right? If you drink milk, take multivitamin pills, you're gonna feel a lot more happy and positive about yourself. So going back to what I was saying earlier, I'm just frustrated with living this modern society, right? When you can't really get away from humans. If you're gone for 10 days, like me, I haven't uploaded videos for 10 days. People are panicking. People are thinking it's the end of the world. People think I literally ended myself. It's kind of crazy, right? And also, like, it's unfortunate how so many people have this mindset that technology is gonna help us humans, like, constantly, right? Like, they have this technological framing and framework of the world, right? Where we need to constantly optimize and manipulate others to get what we want, and we have to do it to get an efficient outcome, right? It's like in this capital society, it's all about efficiency, it's all about being productive, it's all about manipulation, right? Market manipulation, seeing people as objects, seeing us as subjects, seeing us as main characters, seeing us as protagonists, seeing us as tools that can be leveraged to increase the GDP of a country, right? I know all this sounds very like crazy and absurd, but it actually does make sense, right? And I know so many people on my Discord server I noticed before just like want to min-max their life. A lot of people just want to gain muscle. They feeling very not confident, so they want to actually get the crap together. Great for them, but I feel like that's not the best way of living life. There's not really a definitive way of living life. And just frustrated how some people think their worldview is objective way and objective truth for living life, right? Like if you're not being constantly productive, if you're not min-maxing your potential, you're losing out. You're failing life. But how do you even define failing in life, right? And I feel like when you aim high, when you just constantly grind, you're prone to burn out, right? At that point, you're just probably coping with like smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, drinking. It's like there's diminishing returns if you're, trying to be hyper efficient every single second of your life, right? Us humans, we're not built to be machines. We have a certain threshold, right? We have our own breaking point. Some people can, sure, get away with 5 hours sleep, grinding, going to the gym, and reading textbooks 5 hours straight a day. But for me, as someone with ADHD, I find it really hard to focus on some things, right? Some of these things are just built inside my genes, right? Some things I can't control. And yeah, it's kind of crazy how some people see others as NPCs, right? And some people just involve their entire life based on their career. When you ask them who they are, they just say, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm an electrician, but they don't really know who they actually are as human beings, right? And at that point, are we even alive, or are we just putting on a mask and just going along with our work persona 24/7? It's kind of crazy, right? People just base off their entire existence off their personal achievement, success, and making money, right? People would just low key, passively brag about how much they make. And I hate people who just pretend that they're humble, but they're actually really not. They're just low key bragging, right? Probably know some of those folks. And yeah, and I don't really understand people who just try to base off everything based off of science, right? Try to break down everything down into physical matter, right? Certain things can't be reached with rationality. I feel like we tend to just overestimate our human thinking. Humans aren't exactly rational, right? A lot of us get heated over tiny things just because of our emotions, right? If someone hurt our dignity, hurt our existence, hurt our feelings, we're just gonna be biased, right? Kind of crazy. And yeah, just unfortunate how in our current modern society, it's really hard to escape from the feeling that we're so out of touch with what makes us human, right? It feels like a lot of us just end up sinking and living this very linear framework, right? We just want to live life a certain way, but we forget about how other people think, right? That's why so many people end up blending in with certain cults, right? Like political parties, right? Conservative, liberal, religion too, like Christian, Muslim, right? People want to feel belong. They end up forging and building their entire framework, building entire existence and meaning of life off of pretty much one concept that is created by humans, right? It's like sometimes we don't think and go back to roots, right? We just see things as what they are, right? Some people might just tell me this is the way life is, or some people might think I'm overthinking. Some people might think I need to go fix my crap. Sure, you might make sense, but sometimes I just think we need to take a step back and just like not conform to society, not conform to culture, right? And sometimes it's okay to take breaks. I feel like in our society, people push others to be productive. People push others to better themselves every single day. But sometimes it's okay to take a break. And it's crazy, unfortunate how I took a 10-day break, and some people end up getting worried. Like, I appreciate some of you for being worried about me, but seriously, I just wanted to just take a break. But yeah, that's basically I guess my rant today. I know I didn't really discuss like too deeply, but these are just certain concepts I want you all to think about. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But yeah, thank you for understanding. And yeah, honestly, I wish I did a better job of explaining my absence, but really, that's the bulk of it. I just want some time off, right? I thought 1 week was not enough. I needed more than a week. But yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for watching me just rant, rumble, and ramble. Anyways, peace.